Welcome back to Boston Public Radio. Jim Browdy and Marge Regan. We're live at the library, streaming at youtube.com/GBH News, facebook.com/GBH News. As Marjorie said, the governor will be with us in exactly a half hour live at the library. If you want to join us and see her, ask her a question. We're joined now, though, by Karen Tran. Karen's the woman behind @TinyFeltedJoy. It's an account on TikTok where millions have watched her film the process of making these great little felted animals, which she then, I guess, hides, you could say, throughout Boston for people to find. And then they get a wonderful surprise. Karen, it's great to meet you. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah. Thank you very much for being here, Karen. So tell us how this all came about, these little teeny tiny felted animals and hiding them. How'd you come up with this?
Very good question. It kind of started from like a mental health standpoint. So I have bipolar disorder. I'm very open about it because I think it's important to be open about mental health. And last year, I just, like I'm on medication, I go to therapy, but, it only makes it like less bad, So I had an episode, and instead of kind of turning in on myself and doing something that wouldn't necessarily be like a good thing for me, I ended up turning to art. And so I would make these little animals because I picked up needle felting after like a long time. And so I started making multiple animals, and I started calling them my depression animals because I was, in a sad mindset. And so my friends would ask me, and they'd be like, "Oh, how are you?" And I'd be like, "Does this answer your question?" I'd show them an army of animals, and they would be like, "Oh my God, you're doing horrible." And I'm like, "You're right." So after a while, I started thinking, and I was like, wow, like I don't want to sell these because I don't like going to the post office, and I would only sell them for like cheap. I didn't really see a point in it. And then I started thinking like, oh, I can hide them, but we live in Massachusetts, so everyone doesn't leave the house after October 1st. So I started thinking, all right, like what are my other options? And I could hide them in like big brand businesses, but I just thought like this is not really worth it because they don't really like need my help. So I started thinking like, oh, local businesses in Boston, like let me boost up the community that we already have. So that's how it started. I started making them, and I hide them for free in small and local businesses. And it's for a lot of things. It's for like just unprecedented joy, just like really finding one of these like randomly is just, people love them so much, and I'm so happy for that. And it's literally just to make people's days. So it just came from like a really, really hard place, and I tried to make something beautiful out of that.
But you did make something beautiful. So do you call the local independent business and say, "Hi, I'm so-and-so, this is what I do. I'd like to go hide a couple of these things in your store," and then tell people? Is that how it works?
Yeah, so generally I email them, or sometimes when people specifically ask for a part of Boston, I'll go there. But I've hidden so many in Brookline because I just love being there, and there's like a ton of amazing small businesses, so I think I've hid like a fourth of them in Brookline, and I think people...
Okay, maybe you can give me a hint, because I'm driving to Brookline right after the show. Coolidge Corner, should I look around Coolidge Corner, Washington Square? Can you give me a hint?
The chances that something is going to be in Coolidge Corner are exponentially high.
Okay.
Okay, but let's talk for a second about the mental health aspect for a minute. One, it clearly, it's helped you. That's pretty obvious. What kind of response, because you also post these on TikTok.
Absolutely.
What does it do for the individual who searches and finds?
It is so heartwarming. The messages that I get really make it for me of like why I'm doing this in the first place. They'll be like, I remember I got one. It was like paragraphs long, and I was like, I hope this is good. Like, I hope it's a good thing. I hope they're not like, this is the worst little animal. But I generally got a message that was talking about how this girl, she was having like a terrible day. It was a really bad day, and she was like really in her head. She was like, I wanted to go to the gym, and then I couldn't, and then I wanted to go for a walk, and I couldn't. I really couldn't get myself out of my house. And then I saw your animal, and it was so cute. I was like, oh, I really need to go get it. And she had this like amazing experience with the people that worked there, and I love the people who work there. That's why I put it in there in the first place. And she said like, everything that you're doing that you wanted to do is happening, and it happened for me.
Beautiful story.
It was good. I'm gonna tell. She's gonna see it now, but I'm gonna tell her that. It was so sweet.
Okay,
that's the voice of Karen Tran, by the way. She's the woman behind the TikTok page, @TinyFeltedJoy. TinyFeltedJoy. I'm sorry.
Okay, I
Margie.
don't want this to be all about me, but I'm just wondering in general, are these hiding in plain sight, or do I have to kind of scurry around or look in corners? Are they hidden like behind things? Will I have to move things?
So, very good question. I try to make them as least annoying to the workers as possible. I try to put I don't put them behind like glass walls or like safes or anything like that, but generally I will pan the area that I hide them in. So sometimes I make them harder than others depending on like the area. But yes, like they don't usually require that much like digging.
So I can just kind of walk around and scan the places around me and see what I see.
So
I'm very excited about this.
The usual way that it does is that when I make a video, I'll show the area that I hide it in. So let's say if it says area, I'll pan from like here to here, and then you can go find it. And I tell the people who work at the stores, I'm like, you can give them a hint, but it will break my heart.
Oh, so what did you bring with us?
Yeah, we
you
have
gave
a
us
little
each pink
pretty
bag.
little bag. Can I open them up?
Yes. So I actually host TinyFeltedJoy needle felting classes.
You do?
Yes, I host classes that are really fun because I don't sell them, and because the whole point is that you find them, right? And if you can't buy them, you can make them.
This is our kit, Jim, so we
wait
can
a
make
second.
them ourselves.
Before you talk about the kit, and we will, I assume we're going to attempt to make them, which is a losing battle, my friend. But tell us what's in this. What's in this packet?
Yeah. So usually, when I have my classes, I will have enough like wool roving, which is the material that these are made out of, and like this fluffy stuff.
Yeah.
Generally, I will keep enough for whatever class that we're making, and then after that, you have your own project that you can make at home that comes with instructions.
And I assume these little things that I think are sort of like gloves for your fingertips is so you don't stab yourself. Is that it?
It hurts
if you
because it won't like actually like it's not like woodworking where you can chop a finger off, but it will hurt your pride.
And what are these little colored pouches of beautiful colors? What are they?
So the colors are what's called wool roving, and generally this is really it's so funny because it's kind of a niche hobby, so a lot of people haven't heard of it before, but you literally take the needle and your wool and that's it, and like a little pad to make sure you don't like stab through the table. But
can I make a change in plans here? We have two choices. The original plan was for us to get some guidance from you and attempt to do this. I know Marjorie and me well enough to know that will be an abject failure.
It will be difficult.
So here's the following suggestion.
I'm ready.
Since we are streaming this and people can watch you either at the library on the screen or can watch you at home or the office, wherever they are, why don't we give you one of these packets and you make one as an example for our viewers and listeners? Are you willing to do that?
While you're doing
that. Sure.
So, do you have stuff with you?
I always have stuff.
Okay,
this is so funny. I just got, this is so exciting for me, but I literally just got TinyFeltedJoy.
Bags?
So
do you sell those?
Yeah, they're on my website.
What's the website?
TinyFeltedJoy.com.
Well, I guess it is. That's pretty
Got
obvious.
the brands.
TinyFeltedJoy.com. So what do you know when you're about to make something, which you're about to do, and by the way, is if you've been paying attention, you can watch this exhibition at youtube.com/gbhnews or facebook.com/gbhnews. Do you know in advance what you're going to make, or do you just, as a spirit move you once you start hitting the felt thing here?
You know what's hilarious is a lot of the times I will think like, oh, this is what I want to make, and like let's say it's like a koala, it'll turn into a bear. I'm like, I guess it's a bear now. Like,
well, that's good enough for me. By the way, did you make those earrings, those hands?
So I did not make these earrings, but I actually used to have a different art business where I did make, like, they were different than these, but I used to work with polymer clay a lot, and I would make, like, polymer clay hands, but it's over. I'm not doing that anymore.
Okay, so what you've got to do is we're going to attempt to narrate this, but since we don't know what we're talking about, no, you have to narrate it too. Okay, Marjorie.
But I was just going to say, I can see where when you're dealing with mental health issues, whether it's bipolar or anxiety or depression, making things with your hands can be very, very therapeutic, whether it's these or whether, I know people that make bracelets or people have those anxiety balls that they squish that helps them deal. I mean, those are great coping mechanisms that I think really do matter.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of the times when I'm talking to someone and they're struggling not to the point where like there needs to be like a medical intervention, but they're just like in a rut or something, I always tell them to get a hobby, but not in a mean way.
Yeah.
Because I think with hobbies, there's something about them because when you're doing something, like let's say at whatever you normally work at, your brain is kind of like clicking a bunch of different problem-solving skills in the back of your head. It gives you something to look forward to. You build a skill set, and then you can have that joy of looking at something that you made and be like, I made this.
Exactly. And I think also people that I know that have tried to give up bad habits, like smoking is a classic. They start knitting, they start needle pointing, they start doing things with their hands that will keep them occupied to keep them from smoking, or for that matter, from drinking.
Okay, so you're poking that you have your little gloves on your fingers.
Yes.
Thumb and your first, whatever that finger is, the second finger, and you're poking this yellow thing like 6 million times.
Yes.
Why are you doing that?
Okay, so this is something I talk about a lot in my classes, but these are like leather finger gloves to protect your fingers. And this is an extremely sharp barbed needle, and in it are like little divots that basically what you're doing is matting the wool.
And what does that do? What does that accomplish?
It literally condenses all of the wool into one thing, and even though it's like puffy like this, it comes out really hard like this. Oh, I wanted to show you guys. I don't know if they can see it from here, but this is Pablo Picasso. It is.
Hold it up right in front of you. Can we get a shot of this, or try to get as close as we can?
Okay.
Yeah,
it's
we are
a platypus.
That's great.
Oh my God.
That's pretty great.
And he's got a paintbrush. How exciting is that? I'm hoping to hide him in a art store that's around, which I'm pretty excited about. But if you like squeeze it, it's really hard.
Can I have that? Yeah, it is. And by the way, it becomes hard. This is great, by the way. This up close is fabulous.
I love that one.
And it's got a palette on top of its head with all. That's great.
Yes,
so
very
cute.
cute.
It's great. It's really
very
cute. So when you keep poking that thing, hopefully not yourself, but the felt or whatever it is, it gets harder and harder, and then you begin shaping it to what the ultimate goal is, right?
Yeah. So a lot of technically, I think this is like fiber arts. I honestly consider it sculpting, which is not like a super popular opinion. But yeah, so basically, this joke that I have in my class where I have a slide that says like, what are the steps? And the next slide just says stab. And then the slide after that says, thanks for coming.
So Karen, when you, because we said before, millions of people have watched you do this, make these animals on TikTok. So what kind of things do you hear, what kind of stuff do you hear back from people who have gotten into making these little teeny tiny felted joy?
Other than that beautiful note you described a minute ago.
Yeah, I get when I have my classes, people will send me their projects that they made after the class is over, and I can't tell you how much joy that brings me. It is so sweet every time, and they're like, and like the best part about my classes, I think, is I think as human beings, we leave a little piece of ourselves everywhere we go, just in general, like the way you talk, the way you drink coffee, like even the way you have your coffee, like are just little inklings of who you are as a person. And I think that really comes out in art.
So when you went to decide you were going to leave some of these little animals in Coolidge Corner with these little, I don't call them animals, they're not all animals. What's the word? What's the right word?
You know what's funny? Someone started using TinyFeltedJoy as a noun, which
so
you can start doing.
Okay, so when you leave your TinyFeltedJoys, do you go into the store where you're going and say, excuse me, you know, I'm Karen, and I have these little TinyFeltedJoys, and can I hide some around your store? I mean, how do you approach this?
Yeah, I kind of have an elevator pitch at this point.
Yeah?
Yeah, and it's generally, it's kind of funny. I prefer emailing people because usually if I go in, they're gonna, like, I don't want them to think I'm like a random, like, friend. I'm like covered in tattoos and I have like piercings and stuff, and I'm just like coming in being like, do you see this little platypus?
Okay.
Like, and then me being like, you can't have it, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, but yeah, I generally, what I used to do is go in and specifically ask the people that were working there. Usually the owners are there if, you know, they're a small business. And now that it's gotten into a bigger thing, I like prefer emailing them because then I can attach the Boston Globe article and the like WBUR, and like I can also do this one too, so they don't think I'm just like a random person.
Okay, so Karen, let me ask you something. How long does it roughly take to make, for you, not me, you to make one of these things?
Honestly, I can probably crack one of these out. Honestly, how many minutes do we have?
We don't have any minutes, so here's what I'm going to suggest.
Okay.
Here's what I'm going to suggest. What if we move all your stuff? Can we do this, Jamie? To a table on the side, because I want to see the finished product.
Okay.
You complete what it is you're creating
I'll give
here.
it to you.
And no, give it to us on air.
I think she should
how long
give
is
it
it going
to
to take? Another 5 or 10 minutes?
Hold on.
Maybe like 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
Give it to the governor.
Well, let's find out when it's done.
Yeah.
So why don't you continue? When you're complete, tell Jamie or Aiden, and we will display it on our streaming thing, because I think people really want to see what the product
That's
is.
so cute.
And
Isn't that cute?
So again, it's TinyFeltedJoy.com if people want to check it out.
Yeah, it's I'll bring you to the same place, but yeah,
Okay.
TinyFeltedJoy.com is my website, and then at TinyFeltedJoy on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram.
Fabulous. Not only are you doing beautiful things, but you're really providing a particularly great thing for people who need it. That's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's great to meet you,
Karen
and
Tran
congratulations,
is right now.
and thank you.
She's making us one of her little tiny felted joys, which is going to give us when she's
display it
finished
in a
making
while.
it. We're going to display it in just a couple of seconds. We said before,
Thank you,
Tiny
Karen.
Felted Joy at TinyFeltedJoy account on TikTok and has logged millions of viewers. Congratulations, Karen. And Karen Tran also teaches people how to make tiny felted animals. And by the way, they go to where? To
TinyFeltedJoy.com and all those things.
and all those things to find out if they want to join the classes. Okay.
By the way, before we continue, Karen Tran was with us in the last hour. She's the woman behind at TinyFeltedJoy on TikTok. She told us a beautiful story about how it helped her mental health, helped the mental health of people who are finding this. And she has created in the last few minutes, which she wanted me to present to you, Governor, this beautiful little felt thing that is an image of somebody very much like us with headphones and a microphone in our
Oh, my
face.
gosh.
And there, I will present it to you right now, Governor Healy from Karen Tran. Karen,
here.
come over and say hello.
So nice to meet you. Oh my gosh, look at it is. It's got headphones and a microphone. It's right here too.
Really excellent.
It's right here. It's right in the right
That is
place.
Really excellent.
Oh, that's great.
Karen,
Thank you so much.
We
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much.
We very
And
much
I
appreciate
missed. You had a earlier
We
conversation
did.
too about mental health and awareness, and I really appreciate you speaking out about it. And we still have stigma to deal with, so it's really powerful when people are out and talking about themselves, telling their stories, and then taking action. And I want you to know we did something. We have a helpline, 1-877-870-4673. Maybe GBH can put it online for folks, but it is Mental Health Awareness Month. That is a helpline and it is running 24/7.
We'll do it.
You or a family member can call. It's an effort to try to get you plugged into resources out there, because we know it's too hard to come by providers and services. So I want you to know that's out there. There's also an effort we just unveiled. It's mass.gov/maternal mental health. So we've also got a particular focus on maternal mental health. But I know, Karen, we've got more work to do. We need more providers. We've got to deal with reimbursement. We've got to grow, in this space big time, because as a country, unfortunately, we have never treated mental health in the way that we've treated other medical issues, and we pay a price for it in our families, in our communities every single day. So thank you so much.
Karen, thanks so much. It's beautiful.
I'll take this back to the office. And I should hide it somewhere? Is that what I should do in the office?
you
That's
should
what you
hide
do?
it. That's
Okay,
right.
good.
Karen, thanks. That's terrific.
Thank you very